You built a business people love, but behind the scenes, it's all on you. Vision to Grow is your space to lead with clarity, hire with purpose, and finally breathe again. I'm Chrissy, your no-fluff leadership expert, here to help you hire better and lead teams with less mess. Hello, my name is Chrissy L, and this is the Vision to Grow podcast. And today, for every woman who's ever looked at someone else's holiday, business trip, they're talking on a stage, you've got a bit of FOMO, you've seen something on Instagram and thought, far out, that must be nice. And that is not where I want to be, but it's where I want to be. This is for you. So like every business owner feels like that. I know there's an amazing quote that my mindset coach, the incredible Brianna May, talks about. Comparison is the thief of all joy. But then I also love a bit of Mel Robbins and how she talks about comparison. So I really wanted to touch on this subject because the last episode I did was about holiday. This episode is a little bit about trips and designing your role and having the role in the business life that you want. But I want to talk about balance. I want to talk about burnout. I want to talk about trips, FOMO, and I think it's going to be a really expansive episode. So a few months ago, I was on an absolute voice note rant on Instagram with a really close business friend. And what my rant was about and what I actually said to her was, why is everyone on a bloody retreat? And that week, I got myself really revved up, right? Like I'd watched week after week as people I knew in masterminds, and particularly this week, right? This week, people I met in masterminds, people I met in coaching clients, previous clients, collaborators, they were all seemed to be like on a freaking Bali retreat, sipping cocktails in their swimming costumes, looking super relaxed. And I was in winter in Australia in the cold, doing the whole single mum thing, being really busy in my business, really not having any support to take these trips that I desperately wanted to, and no husband to tag team with, so I could swan off for a week and go on a business trip, right? And like, even saying it, I actually think it's really funny because I'm in such a different place now why I'm recording it, but at the time it felt really real. Like I was pissy. I was like, my business is taking a hit because I can't go on a business trip and I can't go off when I feel like it. And it felt really raw, and it made me do a lot of self-discovery as to why I was feeling this way. And I'm sure so many people can relate to this, right? Like you go through different stages of business, and you need to watch what other people are doing, and you need to learn from other people, but also it can be a little bit triggering. And here's the thing for me, it really wasn't about the retreat. It was about what it represented. So the space, the connection, the headspace for the big ideas. Like I'm such an extrovert. I love being around people. I spend a lot of time solo, working from home, as many of us do. And it really made me realize, like, I wanted that too. I wanted to be in the room with other women, other business owners, and I had to just create it in a way that actually fit my life, right? So I can bitch and moan all about the fact that I can't go on a last minute Bali retreat. I can't do that right now. That's not to say it will never shift, but that's just not how my life looks right now. And I think a lot of you can resonate with that. So I'm sure you can resonate, as an individual, like maybe you're in a stage of life where you've got commitments to elderly parents, you're in the thick of it with little kids, and it's not possible for me. So the comparison wasn't serving me, but what could I do that felt great? Because I wanted that connection. I wanted to be in the room with the people. So I was going to create it, which is actually really empowering. Before we touch on that and what the plan was, I really want to talk about the invisible load on women being real. And I'm not saying this is not relevant to men, but I'm talking from my perspective and the research that I've done as a woman, as a mother, as a business owner, living in Australia, turning 40 with small children. So my research really was around women, especially mothers, who are still carrying the bulk of the mental load and domestic labor, whether they run a business or not. And that is, I'm a single mom, but this is moms generally, women generally. We are more likely to do more domestic labor. We are more likely to care for elderly parents. We're definitely more likely to be buying like the birthday and the Christmas shopping. And I'm not saying this is every dynamic, every gender. This is just one perspective, right? So I'm very consciously aware of that as a sociologist. That was my degree. And you're taught to balance out every argument. So I just want to preface it that But the research I did, according to Neuroscience News, mothers take on 71% of household mental load compared to 45% for fathers. So in a heteronormative couple, that means that women are taking on 60% more responsibility before we even open our laptops. So that's just your mum life, right? Along the housework task, because I think it is real and, something you don't feel necessarily before you're in this stage of life. And plus, you don't have kids, your house is just cleaner, right? My house is lovely and clean when my kids aren't here. But if you're a mum in this stage of business, women do 50% more housework than men. Tell me if you're a couple without kids, what that looks like for you. And obviously as a single mum, you're doing all of it. So if you're in a couple, you're doing 50% more housework than men. And this averages around 18.4 hours per week versus men's 12.8 hours a week. And that is nearly 2 extra hours of unpaid work every week. And that is from The Guardian. So there was a really great article on the Guardian on this. I can reference all of these in the show notes. If we layer on top of that you're a business owner, then it's no wonder that a recent Founders Report survey found that 87.7% of entrepreneurs report a mental health issue and 34.4% experience burnout. And then this one's quite shocking. 50.2% live with anxiety. Who as a business owner has never felt anxious about where the money's coming from, the fact that workload's piling up, and that it's essentially on you if you own the business. So I could really relate to that one. There's so many stats on mental health and business ownership. So just be mindful, look after yourself, people. It's, it's about making a plan to deal with that stuff, because I'm sure every business owner has had some sort of mental health situation. Every human has had some sort of mental health situation. If you haven't, amazing. It's not to say it's never going to happen, or maybe you're just not very in touch with yourself. People in my circle have driven, pushed through hard things, and worked on themselves. So I say out of my clients, most of my clients, not all of them, but a lot of them have preschool or primary age kids. And a lot of them are mums who could be married. I've worked with lots of single mums too. I'm a single mum myself. And essentially the patterns are the same. Things happen in your business. A kid ends up in your business, but I should say things are happening in your business, but you still are a mum. And that is a huge, huge part of who you are and how you want to spend your time, and potentially even a driver for why you went into working for yourself and creating your own business. So a lot of patterns I see are, we have to drop everything because a kid ends up in hospital, a school play you didn't know about happens and you're like, oh, I've really got to get to that, and you've got to jiggle things around, or you're running on freaking fumes because your toddler hasn't slept properly in 3 nights. I had a clarity call with a client who came to work with me, and literally, 10 minutes in, she was just sobbing on the Zoom call. I am so freaking tired. I have this successful business, but it is killing me. Something needs to shift. And that was really special. And I was so happy that she was honest. And I have absolutely been there with a baby on the boob and a toddler on the hip and trying to do all the things. And we have to make our businesses fit around that because it's real and we don't want to miss that stuff. So as I said, I launched my business when my daughter was 6 weeks old and my son was 2.5. And honestly, that was probably an easier time when the baby was a baby, because she had naps. The toddler was brutal. When both of them were toddlers, and she was 2.5 and he was 4.5, and they were both getting sick all the time. It's so hard. And while COVID at least made the world more freaking realistic about kids being in the background of Zoom calls and us actually having lives outside of work, personally, I am not someone who can work with my kids at home. Some women can, and I freaking respect the hell out of you. You're absolute rock stars. But for me, I need to focus and I need to get to the end of my work day feeling like I achieved that. That's just me. Obviously, sometimes, I don't work a Tuesday. I have my daughter home with me, but I will do minimal stuff if it suits our routine. Otherwise, it's just a no, because it's just not who I am. They're my energy levels. They're my boundaries. I have to stick to them. I need that focus. The women who start their business to spend more time with their kids and end up feeling guilty because they're not fully present. That's such a common story, right? it's such a duality being a working mom, you know, like you want to give your all to your work, especially if it's your business, you want to give your all to your mom. It's tricky. And for those with partners, which is not my story, it will be at some point, I'm sure. But if you've got a partner, if, you know, what I see, and I don't mean this disrespectfully about amazing husbands, but conversations I've had recently, you know, for the man in the couple, if he wants to go on a work trip, he just goes on it. And if you want to go, even if he's awesome with it and an amazing dad, there's that mental load on you that has been created, right? As a woman, you're arranging childcare, you're rescheduling clients, you're prepping meals, you're organizing play dates, on top of keeping your business afloat. And you know, amazing partners out there, like they might be like, babe, just go on the holiday. But that's the reality of being a mom. You want to still be involved, and you've got that juggle going on, right? So there's a hustle myth, and there's the whole thing about letting go. That sometimes I think is just so unrealistic for women. Like we're trying to balance this duality of like being this badass boss businesswoman and then being a mom and making a balance. And you've got all of these books of that wake up at 5 a.m. and crush the day mantra. Like far out, if you've got the support to do that, like you've got someone who can stay home with your kiddies while you hit the gym, amazing. But I swear to God, that was written by a man with a wife at home. Like you can get up and do whatever you want. Like my kids get up at 5 a.m. Like the joys. I would love to go to the gym at 5 a.m. but I can't. What am I going to do? Wake up, go to the gym and leave my kids in the house on their own? It's just not realistic for me. Another thing about, yes, idealistic. Like I would love to be in the 5 a.m. club. I'm an early riser, but I have to exercise at home if I want to exercise, or I get up, we get out the house early, I exercise, and then I log on. You know, you've got to make it work for you. And I joke with my next hire that I had a joke with my business coach of the day that like my next hire for my business literally will be a wife, like an old school personal assistant, you know, because right now I'm the breadwinner, I'm the cook, I'm the disciplinarian, I'm everything to my kids on my time. I have 75% custody of my kids, which is really a bit more than that. Essentially, I get 2 nights off a fortnight and then every other weekend off a fortnight, right? So when the kids are with me, it's all on me. And that's great. Like, I love that. But it's about being realistic about what works for your lifestyle. You know, I can look over my shoulder all I want at these business retreats, but it's just not practical for me right now. And I really I've been reading, like everyone else, I've been reading Mel Robbins' Let Them book, and I love it so much. I think it's such a powerful read. It's not a business book, but I think it's just something that we all need to get our heads around. We owe it to ourselves to be kind and build the lives we want, right? And that book is so unreal. I love a bit of Mel Robbins, but what I really got from her Let Them book that resonates super hard was when you see someone living a life you want, instead of spiraling in comparison, ask, why is this bothering me? And what would it take to make my version of that happen? For me, that meant letting go of Bali for right now, Bali for a business retreat right now, and booking one night business focused trip away for the Gold Coast. So it's not one night. I'm booking a one night somewhere else, but I'm actually going on a business retreat, a business conference with the amazing Angela Henderson for the Women in Business conference. And that is, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 nights and 4 days. And for me, that's huge. And it took a lot of logistics, but I'm going, you know, it's not overseas, but it's going to be so expansive. And it gives me all of the things that I want, like being in the room with the women, learning, being fully invested in my business. And then I also planned a business trip to Perth, which fit with my schedule. And I'm in the room presenting a workshop. Leadership Essentials is coming up in Perth on the 12th of September. And I'm also a sponsor the night before at MG's Gala, where I'm going to be in the room with women. So I'm meeting those needs of that connection, but it actually fits with my life. So going back on another bit of a sidestep, I remember an old boss stopped me in the middle of an appraisal. So I sat down in an appraisal with my boss, Darren, in my first real leadership role. And, you know, it's this self-reflective, what's gone well, what's not gone well, what am I working on? And I said, well, you know, I really want to work on this weakness. I don't think I'm great at this. And I think it was some sort of real deep techie analytical reporting that I always kind of procrastinated on. And what he said to me was, Christina, stop worrying about your weaknesses, focus on your strengths and hire for the rest. Like at that time, like sometimes I don't mind a bit of reporting and analytics, and I kind of like the setting up of it, but pulling the reporting, I don't enjoy it, right? And his advice was, well, like you've already hired a team member who is highly analytical and loves that stuff, so it wasn't on me. Like the deliverable to our client was getting met. I just wasn't doing it. It actually didn't matter. And I'd hired incredible people who could do that. And, I'm good at hiring. So could always get that support. And that's the exact same advice I give my clients, especially visionary founders who are drowning in operational work. Like your genius isn't an SOP. Your genius isn't writing an SOP or project tracking. So stop trying to do it all. So if we tie that back to the travel, like, is it actually what you want or what you think you should be doing? I think in business there's so much of we should be doing this. It should all be me. That amazing business owner that I look to is on a trip. They've got it all and I haven't. Well, let's be honest. Like, firstly, is your business set up for that? Maybe not. I had a whole episode last week about planning a trip, planning a holiday. Maybe you don't feel like you can go because your business is not set up for it. Or maybe you can't go because your lifestyle or like where you are on your journey isn't there. Like when I really thought about it, like I was looking at these women on these business retreats and they either had older children or weren't at the children's stage yet, or they were like empty nesters. I wasn't seeing a lot of women who were leaving a baby or a toddler or single moms at home, so I was being really unrealistic in my comparison. And then the next thing that I would say is, is our business set up for that? And is it our strength? Is it actually what we want? Are we setting our business up so that we're playing to our strengths? We're building the role that we want to build. Like for me, I started working a lot at the start of this year on like, I want to do speaking gigs. That was a real coming to God moment, thinking, far out, what I want is to be in the room with women, but I'm not actually putting focus or time aside for it. And is that my strength? Am I supported in that? Is the things that I'm delivering that I don't want to? Where do I get the support? Because not having that balance, thinking about things that we think we should be doing that we can't, that comparison, but also balance because we're trying to do it all, even if it's not something we're good at, it's not serving us. It's burnout. What energizes you? Like I know a ton of women in business who are more introverted. Like maybe they think they should be going to business events, but that's not really the way that they network or show up or share their story or get energy from. I think some people probably work away from a conference and feel really freaking drained. Like I'd love to hear from you if you're one of those people. So I think we need to stop doing it all and do what we want. I say that message all the time. And I think especially as a single mom, like don't let yourself get to burnout because you're forcing yourself to do things that you don't actually really want to do or you're not good at. Do the things that you want to do. Do the things that serve you. Do the thing that is going to expand you, push you forward, give you the life that you want. And if your life is not structured for that right now, is that something you can work on? Because that's what I did. I was like, Laura, I want to be in the room with those women. I need to get away from my space. I need to make it happen. And I took a step forward to what maybe me in 2 years' time is going to be able to do. And as the business grows, I will get support. And I've actually been working with someone in a role, like a subcontractor role, who nannies and does PA work. And she's going to help me out when I go away and help with the bit of the kid time that I have. Like I made a plan. I found a way to make it happen, and she will not only watch the kids for the part of time I'm away, like she's also got mad creative and home organizational skills. So she'll do a part of that, and I can expense it on the business because she's doing business work for me. Like there is always a way, but I want you to do what you want. I want you to do what's realistic. I would say the main things and the 3 takeaways I really, really want you to hear today on this are focus on your strengths and focus on what you'd love. Find a way to hire, outsource, or to make the rest. Women need to stop doing it all would be number 2. Like your business should fit your life, not the other way around. So make space for the things that you really want to do and serve you, and then find a way to get rid of it. Like the previous episode I did before on the holidays, that was really about like, what do I need to do? What does someone else need to do? Taking that time made me realize like these are the things that need to shift so I can stop. I'm never really doing it all. That's not me. I'm so not that woman, but there were definite things that I was doing that I shouldn't be doing. And number 3 would be a get real support. So the sooner you take operations off of your plate, the sooner you're going to stop living in burnout. So at Grow Advantage, that is what we do. Like, we support business owners with their operations. It's not me, it's me and a team. It's not dependent on one person. We have solutions where you come to us, where you get a team to support you, but you're only ever dealing with one person, because depending on your personality type, managing lots of people can also drain you. You know, think about who you are, what your energetics are, and what you want to achieve. And I think the Bali retreat example was such a powerful one. You know, do I actually want this? Does it actually fit in with my life? Or is it something I think I should be doing? Make it work for you, your lifestyle, your goals, your energetics. And it's your turn. I really want to hear from you. Did you have a Bali retreat moment? The thing you wish you could do but feels a bit out of reach? Or is there on the flip side, is there something that you're doing that you don't want to do anymore and you want to let go because it's not your strength? So tag me in socials if you love this episode. Always feel free to DM me on Instagram, or I would so love it if you could share this episode so we can totally normalize that real version of balance, one that doesn't break you in the process. And remember all the stats I talked to you about, the load on women. Like, how are we shifting that? How are we finding balance there? You know, are we getting support with all of this domestic labor? Are we asking hubby to jump in more? Are we hiring help and doing more hours and work? Like, what is the balance? And I say balance with bunny quotes, but how do you want your life to look where the business fits in? We do have other responsibilities. What's important to you? Is it going away? Is it being in the room with people? How do we fit that in a way that doesn't burn you out? I am not meaning to overwhelm you in this episode. It's just a bit of planning. And if you're not a planner, work with someone who is. Like, literally, clients have come to me and said, I am doing too many hours. I need to be taking trips more. I need to take holidays where the business is not dependent on me. Work with someone to fix it for you. Get the support. If you're really ready to make your business work without you doing all the jobs, book that clarity call in with me. I'll add the link to the show notes, but we will sit together and we'll design your CEO role so it works with your life and not against it. Build the business, build the systems, get the support, and build the business and the life that you truly want. I'm Chrissy L. It's been amazing to have you here. Until next time.
Audience exclusive.